I know. I know. What are you doing? Are you still reading? You know,
Yo, yo, yo.
interview.
Deadpool just beat up the Hulk. All right. I think I need to get more in depth in that, but that's a whole different story altogether because that's a hell of a quest for Wade Wilson. But this is the questionnaire. Yeah. You know that means I am the unknown factor, aka that Wade Wilson of hip hop. Yeah, it's Deadpool, baby. It's Deadpool, baby. We'll get to that in a while, right? We'll keep that little bit tidbit a surprise. But man, what a suburban dick, right? You know I got my brother Jay D-Day Hardaway in the house. That other suburban dick. What's up, bro?
What's up, brother? Powdered donuts. That's what's up.
Man, he's always smoking or he's always drinking. Right? I might have been drinking, whatever. So he's always eating. I'm always smoking or reading a comic book. It's a problem, right? Before we bring on today's guests, I want to point out a couple things, right? One, it's been a pleasure the guests we've had on. It's been humbling, right? Two, Grant, I'm sorry I didn't realize I'd watched Two Guns. That movie is phenomenal. Y'all need to go watch Two Guns with Denzel Washington, right? And Mark Wahlberg. It is a phenomenal movie. Hardaway, you know what you can do with that look, right? But on the tip of a man who just made me knowledgeable of another film that is based on a comic that I wasn't aware of, let's bring Dion Wilson in the house.
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're
How's
doing pretty good.
everybody?
How about yourself?
We're doing
Doing
excellent,
good.
Dion. I could have
Thanks.
gave you a way better intro. I was just like, because you are the CEO and co-founder of Rastr Technologies LLC. It is Rastr, isn't it?
Rasters, yeah, yeah.
Why Rastr, man? I need an explanation for that right off the bat. Before we even
So
discuss what you do, I want an explanation for your company name because there's gonna be people like, never heard of this guy.
yeah,
You should have heard of this guy, and there's a vital reason for that. And we'll get into it. Hardaway loves that reason, but that's a whole nother note.
nice. So I was looking and really searching for a name that would define who we are as a company and what we deal with. So uh, I can't really take the nerd out of it. I basically said, okay, we need something that's kind of tech, but also speaks to comics. And really, when you get to, I mean, some wordsmiths would have difficulty putting those two things together. And so I said, okay, I heard about the word raster. Then I looked it up, and it had to do with the old television sets. It was the really the word that was used for image. So I said, that's cool, but the spelling, And so something said, take the E out of it and put a dot. When I did that, I looked at it and I said, okay, it looks cool. It sounds cool, but I think somebody has this. I think somebody has it. So I was thinking about just everything I could and looking stuff up, and I didn't find anything. So I said, we got to go with this. Now, there are companies that have like Raster in their name, but it's spelled out Raster. And,
Dion, I
again,
don't mean to interrupt you, but
yeah,
I just gotta say, first off, it's funny. You did something real hip hop there, and I think that's
interesting.
hilarious, right? Secondly, before we further
Okay.
this particular quest, I just want to point out Dion Wilson here, right? What he does is help creators get their comics online with what they do over at Rastr, right? I just want to make that clear because there's going to be
Yeah.
somebody that's like, why are they just talking programming? And like, this is supposed to be the questionnaire. They had like
Well,
this and this. And
let them figure it out. We got to build up to it. He was building up to it. The quest isn't just we at point A and then we go to Z immediately. He was hitting B,
oh,
C, and
hold on.
D.
Do you really think I just went to Z in my head?
Yes.
Are you serious, Hardaway? Do you think I ever get to Z in my head? What the hell is wrong with you?
Nothing because I have food.
That will continue eating your Starburst, whatever, yo.
You
Love
know
it.
nothing.
Like,
All right.
give us
So why did you continue naming it? What was the story? So you got to the dot.
So, yeah, I mean, uh, it was about putting something that would represent tech too, right? So Rastr by itself sounded plain. There were already companies with that name, and they had other stuff. And I said Rastr, and I said, wait a minute, there's, it just sounded, like I said, it sounded like somebody had it already. It sounded like there was somebody with the exact style. It sounded too perfect. And after looking, nobody had that. They didn't have it that way. So I said, let's go with it. Image Comics was big in the 90s. They're still, they still have, great popularity. And it's kind of funny to have the name Rastr and it mean image. But again, it's also taken from the old televisions. So it's kind of like, there's some tech in there, and then it's related to images, and comics are about images. Comics are about what we see. They've had a tremendous impact, not just in the world of comics itself or in media entertainment, but comics have actually impacted film. Comics have impacted people's lives in ways that they don't even
real quick. We'll get to the next point you just made as far as impacting lives, and I will directly reference past interviews we've had. But I want to reference what you said before that, which is the fact of how they have impacted film and TV. Now, I've said this many times on the show. I know for a fact there are people that watch comic book movies and they have no idea they're based on a comic book. I did it with Two Guns. My apologies, Stephen. I will be picking that up in the near future to read it because the movie was phenomenal. I can only assume what was written was far, far better.
He will apologize every episode. I swear he finds a way to apologize every episode.
I'll apologize for a couple episodes. I'm a bit of a dick, man. This might be the last apology. Let's be real honest, right? You pointed out,
but you did say there's another movie.
What do you mean? What do you?
He said there's another movie.
You mean Road to Perdition?
Yes, that's the movie. How did we not know that was a freaking comic book movie? Unknown.
See, and that just even more points or makes my point, which it's amazing to me that as someone that reads comic books, there's so many things that I miss. So we're gonna get to your next point, man. I promise. My head, it's like a track that goes in circles but does it all at once. It's kind of crazy, right? But I want to know, Dion, what got you into comic books initially? And then what made you decide to create this company for comic books as well as, to where you could help get them out to people?
Okay, so, like I usually explain to people, comic books were in my family before I was. So uncles, aunts, mother, father, they all had comics. They were there. And so when I got there, when I got here, I should say, I was able to, grow up watching and reading what most people had access to at that time as my entertainment. So, I grew up watching the old George Reeves Superman, the old Batman from the 1960s. I mean, obviously those things were rerunning. I wasn't born in the 1960s, but I'm a 70s child, and those things were rerunning, and I watched them. And of course, like most kids, I was fascinated. I had been back in those days. They had what's called underoos. You hear that reference on Captain America: Civil War, but a lot of younger people have no actual connection to underoos whatsoever. We would go to the local Mervyn's, and you'd get the cardboard package, and it'd have like the t-shirt, underwear in it. It'd have, like I did, one of mine was Darth Vader. So it had Darth Vader on the blue t-shirt. It had the underoos and the black label, almost like the belt and stuff. And it matched every set. I had Aquaman, yellow, orange and green. So, that's, it had been a part of pop culture very strongly before I got here. And, I just absorbed it like everybody else that did. What caused me to start the company really had to do with uh, having started my own independent comic book company called Titanium Comics, and really looking around and seeing that there's just so many comics, so many creators. Um, I said, why would somebody know you from, this company or that company? Now, the company that I grew gained in some popularity at that time. So we weren't totally out of it, but I just felt like I could do more. I felt like there was more value that really needed to be pulled out of the industry. And that being another comic book company, no offense to those out there, they're wonderful, they're lovely, but for myself, it just
You say,
wasn't
wait, Dion,
make
don't
the
make
difference.
them mad. We're trying to get them on the
Right.
show for
I don't want to make them mad, but I love what's happening out there. But there comes a point where we have to think about the value proposition. Everybody sees the big companies, everybody sees the big dollars that the big companies generate, but they don't really understand about creating the value proposition. They think, okay, well, I'm going to create the comic and I'm going to have the merchandise with it, or the baseball hat and the T-shirt or the toy. When that's that it can be a value proposition, but not to the level that it should be in today's time. So I began to talk to the peers that I had all over the world that had their own comic book companies that were illustrating and writing, and it just seemed like the same problem kept coming up. They couldn't get to the sales they wanted. They didn't have the means to collaborate with their teams. They were, using all these different programs to do that. And then it, people knowing their characters and knowing who they were. So there was no real brand recognition. And I said, okay, there's got to be a way to get the little guys to cheat for them, right? That software, which is an nothing but automated systems, there's got to be a way to program things where they can do certain inputs and get the maximum output possible to get the brand recognition, to get the revenue, and get just the best collaborations between them, their peers, and their customers. So, not to sound too much like I'm on Bloomberg tag, and not dissing the show. I mean, with all due respect, but I looked at it really from how I could really bring a strong business mind in and bring technology in. And then, quite honest, be quite honest, nobody's, I'm glad we're on the show we're on, because I'm just going to put it out here. Nobody's really giving a fuck about the independent and small creators. And
Yo, real quick, you can thank
yeah,
Stephen Graham for the fact that nobody
uh,
gives a fuck anymore. As far
Yeah,
as like,
he
man,
would not stop cussing, man. He just didn't give a fuck.
loved it, loved it. And I was like, you know
okay.
what? You know what?
Mhm.
Why the hell I got two hip hop artists doing interviews and giving some kind of one? You know what I mean? It kind of threw me
Right,
off. Like
right,
so yeah. So, but can I say in that I do understand your business model as far as
right.
bringing something different, because
hmm
I like to think I've watched several comic interview shows and this dude's crazy and we're kind of, yeah, you know what I mean. So it makes
Now,
it a little
now,
different.
I do have a
Go
question
ahead.
though. What makes yours different? Your company and your programs
Because
different?
real quick, he's gonna get into it. I'm gonna say because I'm
Mhm,
old school, right?
mhm.
I love my paper. I love my paper. I can't
Oh,
lie.
yeah, I
I
mean,
I love my paper, right? But he's all about going online and just reading whatever. And there's part of me that can't deal with that,
right.
So Hardaway, make your point, and then I got like studies because I always do.
So what makes us different?
Uh,
But
uh,
also, let me
oh,
cut back.
oh yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Oh no,
yeah.
let him. He's gonna. Hold on, Dion. Give him like
Okay,
30 seconds. He's gonna get stupid deep.
okay, okay.
All right, so
If he can
what?
not, if he can stop chewing food, anyways.
I did have a breathing murmur. It was a small one. All right, but no, seriously though, what
Okay.
makes your program and software different from things like Tapas, Webtoons, Magnazone? Ooh, excuse me. and Tune Mix and other programs of the sort and whatnot, because they offer advertising and monetization as well, as a platform. So what makes yours different than theirs?
Okay, so I don't know how much time we have because I could talk about the differentials for an hour. But let
Give
me
you
start
to 7 minutes.
or less. You guys stop me. How about that? I'll try to keep it short. You guys say,
I'm
yo, do the next one. Yeah. So one of the things that a lot of what I like to refer to as Web 1.0 platforms offer, they host the ability to either read or sell the comic book. They do not necessarily actively look to protect the rights or help creators manage their intellectual property. That is the most defining difference with us, next to the other most defining, I would have to say, which is the data. Creators are going to do better. Independent individuals, small groups are going to do better when they have access to data about what they're doing, not just what their revenues are and sales compared to Marvel or DC, but what are their best, collaborations in terms of communication. When I communicate with you, is it more effective than when I communicate with your brother? You know, what suggestions can our algorithms give this creator to improve the value of the story, of the character? Data about if you are thinking to distribute in the Netherlands your comic book, is is there a demographic there that actually favors what it is that you want there, and actually finding that specific demographic, whether it's in the Netherlands, Brazil, or Japan. And those are things that the small guys do not have. They don't, and I'll tell you what the big guys don't have about the small guys. They don't have a knowledge of the social and financial values that are created within this space, this global space. And when you mention tapas and webtoons, and you can throw in comicsology, you can throw in
Yeah.
Substack, you can throw them all in. And then when you do, take out the gasoline and the light and set them on fire, because they're garbage platforms as far as I'm concerned. I shouldn't say that, but they are, because what they're basically doing is taking Web 1.0 and repackaging as something amazing. Writers already had a place to tell their story. A lot of these comic book creators have a place to sell their comics. Now, I admit, in the digital space, you're basically providing assistance on that vertical that they would not get in the traditional space. But the reality is there's just so much regurgitation of the same thing, and any real data that even those platforms get is they don't teach, or they don't position that data to assist those creators to get and do more. I'll give you an example when you use webtoons as an example.
Wait. Can I give an example? I want to give an example. It's called Spotify.
Stop, bro. Stop. We're not doing music right now. Calm down.
That was funny. Bro, that was funny.
I think
it is, but I don't. Huh?
Aren't there audio comics on Spotify? I believe there are.
There are, but it's a trash payout. It's a trash payout. That's what he's talking about. It's an absolute. So for 1,000 streams, you'll get maybe $7. Maybe.
Yes, exactly. I heard. Excuse me.
All right, but
sorry,
about Spotify.
You said that, man. I couldn't.
Yeah, no. That's why I tell everybody that, like, stop fucking with Spotify. Fuck with Tidal. And the thing is like, it costs the same amount of money. You have the same amount of music, Yeah, actually, you get
Right.
more from Tidal. You know what I'm saying? You have actually
Right.
hi-fi and lo-fi options through Tidal.
See,
It's ridiculous, and they actually pay the artists more per
right.
stream. It's an
But
act.
we do really, really, truly digress. But I
Yeah,
think I
we do, but no, no.
I do have to agree with
To
the
interrupt to interrupt and whatnot.
that you love.
Um, but I actually do have something to say about that. So, would it be beneficial for them to not only use your platform but theirs as well?
No, because no, it's not beneficial to use theirs versus ours.
No, no, no. At the same, not versus, in conjunction. So together.
Oh, not even in conjunction. That's not the way we operate. You see, we're creating an economic digital ecosystem where users, and these users are producers, as well as their customers, will be able to come to one place and have all the necessary interactions that they need from all the vertical and even some of the horizontal, being able to license, okay? Um, Being able to sell not just comics. Our first application, Hero Ledger, is not about selling comics. It's about selling the values within the comics to other producers to allow them to plus up what they are creating. So, as an example, if I'm a character artist, I don't do pages. Okay. I may have that skill set, but I'm spending more time creating characters. That's my zen. So I've got to sell a lot of characters. I've got to create characters to go in books. Well, I've got to improve my skills. I've got to put together a portfolio so people can see this stuff. And in the process of doing that, I'm creating 300 to 1,000 characters per year that are just sitting on my database or on my table, my tablet, not earning back the money I've spent in time to create this stuff. And so what Hero Ledger basically does is it says, bring us your characters, your sound bites, your graphic designs, your written works that are just sitting there, and let's put them in a place where other creators who need an extra character for their story, need a story to go with characters they already have, or want to create a comic and don't have either, maybe not even the talents to help them to produce it, but they want to at least get the production assets. Hero Ledger allows for that.
Real quick, Dion, I
Yeah.
think that's phenomenal because one thing that sometimes really, really, really annoys me, more often, it annoys me more often than not when it's done, is when people take characters that have become just free to use based on the fact that the copyright and everything is running out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Uh, Sometimes that can be done right. It's not that often, in my opinion. Like when a character has gotten to the point where you can literally just use them because they've reached the point you can't copyright them. They're public, like they're for the public now. Which I mean, I could give Dracula, Frankenstein. There's a ton of examples of that. Mickey Mouse is apparently about to become one, but I don't
Yeah.
see Disney letting that happen.
All
I
right.
feel I feel
Uh,
like they're gonna figure something
all
out.
right, but
But
hold on. So you're
I just gotta say I think it's way better to have that archive to where you can reach into original characters than doing that. I wish more creators would do so.
all right.
Right. What we
That is
Go ahead.
cool.
Go ahead.
But
Mhm.
my question now is how do you go about uh distribution and accessibility? For instance, let's say uh, a writer gets a hold of a couple characters, so now the character creator is a part of that said project. Then you get a scenery creator, and now that scenery artist is part of that concept. So now you have four people who are working on this concept, and they created this comic book and or graphic novel or novel. Um, and whatnot, do they distribute through you, and or do you have a platform for people to read and view said book,
Okay.
comic, or anything like that? Like that's
You're
where my next question.
Okay, that's your next question, but I actually didn't finish your
Oh, I'm
first one,
sorry.
and maybe
I'm
that's
sorry.
what I talked to. No, and that's okay. It all comes together. You see, you asked about do they use what we have and the other platforms in tandem? And that answer really quickly is no. We're creating an entire ecosystem, like I was saying, and that ecosystem will be the vertical as we know it: production, distribution, retail, and when we look at the customer in the vertical, customer engagement, at various levels. Not only that, when I talk about building an economic aspect to it, we're talking about utilizing cryptocurrency and other incentives to act as a monetary system within that. So, um, there are a lot of ideas. There are a lot of things to do, and a lot of things people want to do. But in the larger, in the current environment of small publishers putting works together, there isn't a solid incentive apparatus to facilitate that. You're going to get a different bargain with a different comic publisher. You're going to get, you may get nothing. You may get, access to equity for one creator, or one creative. It's just different things. And I'm not saying that those things wouldn't remain, but there should be some type of underlying unifying economic incentive. And we understand that when we talk about cryptocurrencies, it's a sensitive topic to people who feel like it's more used for criminal enterprises than it is for anything good. And that's just not the case.
Wait. Can I say real quickly? That's not my problem with cryptocurrency. My problem with cryptocurrency is the fact that it's bad for an environment that we are already burning to hell anyways.
Well, that's utilizing proof of work. We utilize proof of stake, and there is a far different use of technology and energy. Not only that, but we have a utility.
Don't you still have to mine it?
No, they stake. We use proof of stake. Very much.
Yeah, and when you and the whole entire ordeal about mining and whatnot is propaganda due to the banks trying to keep people from being decentralized. That's the whole reason why they bring that up. Because here's the thing.
Right.
If that's the case, if that's the case, every warehouse Amazon owns produces more heat than those miners. So,
I mean,
and ain't nobody gonna stop that. Ain't nobody gonna stop that. Everybody benefits from it. Here's the thing.
Wait. I swear, Dion, we're gonna get back to this interview, but I gotta dick with my co-host real quick. Did you just say everyone benefits from Amazon?
Yeah. You want me to count the freaking fucking ways?
All I'm gonna say is, as a whole, humanity does not. We can have this conversation. I don't know where we're gonna have this conversation, but it is not a conversation for the questionnaire because it is 16,000 hours long. It is. I mean, look, dude let somebody lay on the floor of the warehouse dead for a long time and told the employees to work around him.
No. See, you're thinking morality versus other things. I didn't bring up saying that Amazon was morally correct.
Bring up things. That's just one of my favorite points because I
just
think
like check this out.
Terrible.
I'll give you a prime example. Chernobyl.
No, Hardaway. We are gonna go way too much off on a tangent. And Dion's gonna be like, I thought they brought me on to be interviewed, and now they're just talking shit on Jeffrey Bezos.
Who owns Comixology, by the way? So it's all relevant in some form or fashion. But they own Comixology.
Wait, he does?
Yeah. So Amazon.
All right, whatever. I will never buy a comic from them in my life. I swear, just because I'm really not a fan of someone who can go to space, see the marble that we float in a pool of chaos, and then interrupt Captain Kirk when he's speaking on his moment of clarity about it. I have no respect for that man. I'm sorry. That is the end of it. We could go so much deeper.
Oh my god.
They got laugh out of it, and that's all that fucking matters. This is the quest. So again, Dion, what I want to know, man, as far as as far as going about this, when you get to distribution point, what do you think? Like, what do you do to the people? Like, what would you say to someone that's like me? That's like, I don't want to read that digital. I want my book. I want my book. What would you do to convince someone like me to be like, look, man, blah 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 blah, ABC, whatever?
Well, see, the belief is that we take a strong. Okay, first of all, a lot of arguments always seem to be broken down to extremes, this or that. Okay. Let me tell you what our position is as a company. So our position is to empower independent creators at the least cost, okay, with the most possible resources so that they can go and support their customers with whatever that customer need is. We don't say no paper versus, all digital. It's not the meat versus vegetable argument with us. That's not us.
Are you saying through your system there is some kind of paper format that you guys do as far as, or is that in?
Well, as an example, most digital, you buy the work, and if they don't sell you access right then and there to read a digital copy, there's some facilitation by a third party to fulfill a physical order. With the systems that we're building, we can do both. We want to incentivize, because every country and every region is different. We're having this conversation in a first-class nation where we could not have the same conversation in a place like, say, Sri Lanka or Africa, where digital and banking, things of that nature, aren't at the level that they are, where a lot of consumption takes place on mobile. In fact, in most of the known world, even in the Netherlands, most of that consumption is taking place on digital, on mobile. So the ability to provide to the largest possible demographic, we definitely see that as being necessary. But it doesn't, again, we don't have to take an extreme to say that because the majority, the majority in one thing or one thing, that we have to leave out the other guys. Everyone has been using digital platforms and third parties to fulfill physical merchandise. You just got through talking about Amazon. That's all they do, right? Their books are probably, I don't know, maybe 15, 20% of their business. If that's probably too large. But nonetheless, and when I say the books, the Kindle stuff, because they sell physical books, right?
Yeah,
and that's the way it started.
I'll have to admit, I did just buy Suburban Dicks off there, so whatever.
So, there doesn't have to, from our standpoint, we're not trying to force kids to eat their lima beans. We're trying to do is show the value of a vegetable, of the vegetable environment, the phylum, just show them, look, there are other kinds of vegetables to be eaten too, and they have these kind of nutrients. And going back to the other question on distribution that was asked, how we handle distribution, and I don't like to get into all the details because the program is not ready for the public. It's in planning, it's being worked on, but it's not ready to be pushed out. Our marketplace is the first one, which focuses more on B2B. So it's kind of the Alibaba of comic book platforms, where you are the business person and you need a particular supplier manufacturer process. And that's where you come to this for, on one of the outer levels. On one of the inner levels, it's like, hey, I don't have the time and the money to spend with the U.S. Patent Trade Office as well as the U.S. Copyright Office to copyright all this stuff, to trademark and patent all this stuff, yet I need some form of what we like to refer to as attestation, which shows that there is someone that a third party that vouches or has some record of my holding or ownership or use of this thing. And that's what a part of our blockchain does. Our blockchain is really there to understand the transactions that happen between independent creators and their consumers and quantify that for large companies, because large companies don't understand that there is roughly by our calculation, there is roughly $7 to $10 billion of value that's being created annually by the global aggregate of comic creators. Okay, when we factor in writers of comics, graphic designers, and when I say graphic designers, I'm referring to your letterers, your people who put those
Here, let me just go real and let me see if I tell me if I miss anything.
Okay.
Right, you got your writers, you got your art, you got your background artist, you got your letterer, you got your inker, you got your you got your editor, you got your head editor, whatever that's, you know what I'm saying. I think that's most of them in the primary concern. I mean, you might have a character creator to some degree, but yeah, I believe that's most, and we've either got, I think almost every one of those in some capacity has come on the questionnaire or is booked in the future, just so everyone knows. Even the inker, I'm telling you, I don't care what they say in Chasing Amy. That's really not just tracing. There's a very, very different level to inking.
Inkers are very important to how we perceive depth, how it becomes visceral to us visually. It's how we touch it with our eyes, you see. And you forgot the flatterer, that is actual position. That's a person that applies color to a zone or a region of the line art, right? I mean, I didn't work with them. I felt like, look, if I know the color, put the color on the character and let's go. But
yeah, no,
they're there.
Colors. Yeah, you're right. I missed one. I'm sorry. I believe we've got one coming up on the damn show book too. I kind of feel bad or whatever.
But so I hope I really gave context to the beginning application, or the application that you'll see first is our marketplace that's B2B. And it is hosted by Comic Chain, which is the first comic blockchain. There's been no one else to actually create a blockchain for comic creators. There's been a lot of stuff that's out there where you can add it to a blockchain. You can say all kinds of things to make it sound like it's the same, but we focus in this industry. I've battled people that have spoken about a lot of nonsense about how, we do this for comics too. They don't. Earlier I was asked what separates us from other companies is that we think and work within this industry with the tools of technology, whereas other people may just simply take those tools and use them to spin up another mousetrap. We think very clearly about what we do. We talk to people in different areas of this business and other businesses too. How many of them are dealing with economists? We deal with economists with our business. You see, how many are dealing with behavioral scientists? We deal with behavioral scientists when we deal with this business. So we're not just ornamentation on the wall.
Let me pause you right there, because you said behavioral scientist, and I'm curious, and I know it's something I would be kind of very apropos about. As far as if you were explaining this to me, there'd be part of me that would look at you and go, "How can I absolutely trust you with what is my creation, a thing that seeped out of my brain?" You know what I mean? And I'm sure you either had this or it's going to happen. You know what I mean? Because it's human behavior to kind of be untrustworthy to a certain degree. Right. What do you say in a situation like that?
Okay, so when you say trust me, I imagine you're obviously speaking about how will they trust Rastr. Well, first of all,
the entirety of the company. I mean, because look, like corporations are trustworthy. You know what I mean?
We have application. I would say go by what we do. If you're listening to what we say, go by what we do. If you're curious about what something is, You can ask us, but also do the research yourself. When it comes to what we offer and this idea of trust, I think trust is an extreme, and I think trust is situational. I think that what it boils down to is, okay, when my team represents whatever our position is, and when we say we're creating software features and functionality, and when we present these things to the public, do they work to do those things? And can you see, at least for some, that it is getting them, getting some of their goals complete? Maybe we have users that's like, just button mashing and it's like, okay, that's fine, whatever. But we have people that take it more serious and they get to the next level of monetization. They get to the next level of brand recognition or co-op.
Just out of curiosity, I
Mhm.
gotta know, what's the most
Yeah.
notable, what's the most notable name you dealt with your company?
I couldn't hear that word. The most mutable name you
No,
said? You still breaking up. What'd you say?
Notable. What's the most notable
Notable.
name?
Or do you mean notable as far as the names we created, or notable in terms of other professionals that are out there that we've
No,
engaged?
he's uh,
I mean, look, like I'll put it like this, and I'm not trying to be belittling in any way, but I know Garth Ennis is probably never going to come and deal directly with you until your company becomes far, far, far larger. That's just because of the name Garth Ennis is, and
Yeah,
that's the
right.
creator. Blah 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 blah. So I mean, like someone at that level, like what would you say? And in that matter, what is your aim? Like, is your aim to get Garth Ennis using your system and people at that level?
You know Garth Ennis. You know Garth Ennis. The world knows Garth Ennis, at least part of the world. Okay. Mark Wade, Garth Ennis, you name these guys. Okay.
Yes.
Jeff Johns. I mean, we could be all day naming people who already have status because of companies
Yeah,
that
that was
will.
that's my question.
Right.
Like, are you at a point with your company trying to get to those bigger names to where they're using this block system, or
No,
no?
no, no,
Okay,
no. We don't mind anyone that feels that they have a need to utilize it to do so, but we're focused on the names and the brands you don't know about. Yeah. I know, I mean, I don't
mhm.
know him personally, but I know Garth Ennis, through his works. But
oh yeah, and I had the pleasure of meeting him at a convention. It was yeah, he was a dope dude. Um,
Mhm.
but I like that. And that's part of what we're doing with the questionnaire. I mean, it's a crazy balance as far as the fact that there's I'm trying to get Garth Ennis on, like that's a goal, right? And then we've had some very notable creators like Stephen Grant in the past episode, who is the guy that
Nice.
wrote Two Guns. I mean, Matt Hawkins, who's the COO
Yeah.
of Top Cow. There's some notable names
Okay.
within there. But that's why I was just curious if you were just doing that, or was you looking to expand for someone like Javon. Don't take this personally, but I would say Javon Stokes, who is someone who is a far, like, he's completely independent. You know what I mean? He's Stokes vision, and that's like he's not linked up and hasn't been with any of the big companies as far as I know. If I'm fucking that up, Javon, I apologize.
Mhm.
But that's what I'm curious. Are you just more so you're just more focused on creators like that, ostensibly?
We're focused on the indie creators. We're focused on the underdogs, which
Mhm.
represent so
Isn't that
much.
everyone but Marvel and DC, really?
No, no. In fact, there are a
Mm-mm.
number of even independent companies that have name. I mean, um,
You named one as far as,
uh,
well, I mean, because you've named one right off the fact that you play your name off of an image, and then Top Cow, as well as you've got Boom, Dynamite, IDW. I could see
Dark
that
Horse,
probably
Valiant.
five.
yeah, Valiant and IDW, some of these companies, even DC, when we talk about them, we wrote a paper back in 2018. We released a paper. I wrote the paper. Most of it, my team pitched in, but we we released a paper in 2018, and we started that paper off by explaining, because we had done about 3 years of research for the global comic book business, not just the US, but we did look obviously at our homeland. And here in the US, we had calculated when we wrote that paper, within 5 to 10 years, the comic book industry in the United States would implode. Now, we know that there's been close, companies coming close to going out of business, but there's been a lot that is going on, both pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID that has had tremendous impact on the traditional vertical in comics in the US. Not just the sentiment alone, which is huge about, you know, what how Japanese comics are killing it compared to American comics, or, you know, go woke, you know, get woke, go broke, all of these forms of sentiment, all of their expressions and other things.
Wait,
But
did you just say get woke, go broke?
yes, get woke or go broke. That's a statement that is trending, that is popular in pop culture, where um, yeah, individuals are saying, look, you know, the changing, the inclusion of this, that, and the other, or the exclusion of this, that, and the other, is when you do it for money, think you do it, you know, you do it to prop up one group or one idea over another, it's not going to work. You're gonna let down the people who ultimately hold up the fandom. So those ideas are out there, and I'm not here to talk about, you know, where I am on any of that. But what I'm saying is that at all of the levels of the vertical, from printing and those costs, the distribution channels, the distribution, in the United States, we have one main distributor for comics. We've had one main distributor. Okay, we've had multiple distributors, but one that's had the limelight, that's had most of it, and that's Diamond. And that model is not sustainable. A lot of these models are not sustainable, and they're imploding. And, you know, like any forest, if the grandfather trees go, so goes the forest. So the idea is, it's, you know, while everybody is typically looking for who's going to be the next Marvel, who's going to be the next DC, today's model is not about that. It is all about the creator economy. It's all about multiple voices and multiple publishers coming together to be the next Marvel, the next DC. So,
You know,
um,
can I say, Dion, in that, I think you make a very valid point, because the main thing when you bring up those two companies specifically is, you know, DC is Warner Brothers technically, and now Marvel is Disney, and
right.
and that's just not, especially now that they've got that and Star Wars. It's rightly not a company you can fight with just because of the powerhouse it is. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Um, so I fully understand your point in that as far as the independent creators. Now you say everybody should come together. I'm assuming you mean just like I said, ostensibly create our own comics is what you're referring to.
Right. I want to make one correction. I didn't say everyone should come together. But what I'm referring to, I said that
Okay. I mean, man, what? Are you not for one love, one piece? Come on, Dion. Damn.
I, I absolutely am. But I believe that, you know, people are going to have their own culture, and they're going to connect with what works best for them. Those that, you know, whatever ideas and people work best for them. Now that smaller culture, that subculture, can exist within the larger framework, and it does all the time. But um, you know, I should say, and with that, what we're talking about are creators. Really, what we do is magnify what's already happening in the creator economy. You know, we're not here to collect data to sell and you know, make money off these guys. We do have a program that we want to include in what we're doing, where we show them the value of their data in dollars, and work with a third party, include them in that payment cycle. Okay, but they
I
have
would
to
hope
opt to
so.
them. Say again.
I said I would hope so.
Yes, because in today's time, it's not just controversial, it's unethical to do it any other way, where, you know, you are capitalizing and exploiting 100% of your user base, or your, you know, that's just, we're not doing that. That's not the way we work. So
You're not Facebook. I appreciate that.
I didn't want to, you know, reference any particular company. But you know,
And look,
we're not the
he's had to go in front and explain himself enough times and never managed it that I think everyone should be aware. But that's neither here nor there.
true. But as a company, you know, I have to, you know, be very careful of these things because even though we're having a very relaxed convo, the reality is, you know, individuals or groups or companies that would try to interrupt what you're doing, they will, you know, they'll look for something. And so it's best to represent our idea the best way possible and represent everybody the best way possible or not talk about them, right? You know,
Hey, look,
those.
I'll post it on Facebook. I'll post that part on Facebook. You think, like, are you
Well, you
serious?
can.
And then I'm gonna tell Hardaway, clip that out, but posting it on
Right.
TikTok. I don't even care. See, and that's part of the problem, in my opinion, with the entirety of everything, is people can't even have opinions about people that they should be able to. Like the second Trump was more idolized as a politician than he was actually scrutinized, it's a problem. I want to point out, politicians are not to be idolized; they're to be scrutinized. But I just want to totally flip the script real quick because that's what I do. I am the unknown factor, man. I want to know. So your least favorite comic book movie and your most favorite comic book movie, I find it hilarious, are both DC movies, right? The Watchmen, phenomenal.
Yeah.
I agree. Have you watched the Snyder Cut?
No, I have not. I didn't even realize there was a thing of that. Right.
Yeah, it's 4 hours long, right? And you
Of the
have
Watchmen.
no the Snyder Cut of
I'm talking about Justice League. Oh,
Sorry.
I've seen that. I thought you meant Watchmen. You know,
Yeah,
Watchmen.
see,
No, no,
the movie's called Justice League Snyder Cut. It's not just called the Snyder Cut.
man,
Well,
I thought it was fair enough because there technically is a cut of the Watchmen that's got the comic book tail cut in between as the comic does.
right. That
Yeah,
is 300.
so I would technically that would be the longer cut. I mean, I don't know if that was exactly directors. I don't have the reference in front of me. I'm not looking it up. But no, I meant the Justice
Yeah,
Snyder cut. I
yeah,
was referring to.
I've seen. Yeah, I've seen that.
And now, did you specifically mean the first cut of the Justice League, or you're referring to that one as well?
As my favorite film.
No, your least favorite, because like I said, they were both DC. And the fact that I just wanted to clarify.
I don't remember seeing Justice League. I probably should have said Howard the Duck was probably my least favorite. I don't think Justice League was my least favorite. It was decent. I enjoyed it.
Did the comic the least justice is what was said, actually, specifically in that question.
Okay, because I apologize about that. I should have put Howard the Duck because I mean, you know, God bless Leah Thompson and stuff, but it just didn't work. Didn't work for me.
There didn't need to be a duck human sex scene. I'm just saying
Hey,
that you.
I loved Howard the Duck. Do not.
That part went over my head, but it was just the duck being in the movie talking. I don't like anthropomorphics like that, so it just didn't work.
I love Howard the Duck.
But Hardaway, what was you about to say? I feel like you had words about to come out.
No, I was going to tell you to stop talking shit about Howard the Duck.
What can I say to that?
For you being the co-host, I'll do it. You know, but in general,
what can I just say?
No, you can dislike Howard the Duck, and he had a valid point. He's like anthropomorphic things just don't do it for me. Fine,
well, I like him in a comic. In the comic, yes, but not as walking around kind of human like. That was weird to me.
You weren't a fan of Ninja Turtles either, then I take it.
No, crazily enough, I enjoyed the Turtles. I know, it's a little crazy, but the Turtles get a pass.
Oh, see, that's fucked. That is fucked up.
I'm referring to the original.
The Turtles should always get a pass. They should always. It's the Turtles, and they have way more of a greater history, in my opinion, in comic books than Howard the Duck. Anybody that wants to be mad about it can come. I don't care.
You know, I mean, Howard the Duck, you know, but the Turtles are ninjas. You got to throw that in there too. So.
All right, but look, I ain't even gonna get into defending my nigga. All right, we could talk about something. I'm not trying to defend Howard the Duck like that and whatnot because check this out. You can be ninja all you want. Everybody got a plan until they get shot in the face. So,
like, no, it was school and it took too long. Ask a question, Hardaway.
I don't have a question to ask. He answered all the questions that I had to ask. I was talking about the platform and the business and whatnot. We
Right.
and we and the questions that in my mind right now would ask have nothing to do with comics. So you'd be like,
Okay.
no, you can't ask those questions. I'd be like, nigga, what's your favorite pie? I can't ask what your favorite pie is.
You said pod or pie?
Pie. I'm not gonna ask you what your favorite pot is. I mean, mines are like ceramic, but you know,
Mhm. Oh, I mean, are you really waiting for an answer, or
What's your
what do you
favorite
want?
pie, man? Yeah.
yeah,
You
pie.
said
Like
you
pie,
said
as in
pie.
like no pie is like Boston cream pie,
Yeah.
key lime pie,
Exactly.
strawberry
Pie.
rhubarb.
E- um, okay,
Yeah,
love
that's
rhubarb, love rhubarb, but I am a huge fan. I just hate to be stereotypical here right now, but sweet potato pie is that's it.
I
They
mean,
don't have nothing to be. They don't make anything that's better than that. I don't care. Well, you can name Boston cream, you can name lemon meringue, you can name it all. Nothing. Sweet potato pie is it. The world runs on that.
All right. This
They
interview
run.
is over.
They don't even know it, but they run on that. That's how serious it is.
Dion just said his favorite pie was sweet potato. I can't, man, it was such a fucked up answer. I couldn't even get it out of my mouth. Like, that's your favorite pie? Are you
it's
serious? Oh my
fire.
God.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me tell you how popular the pie is that I love, that everybody that should make it a national day for. So you guys are hip hop artists. You
Man.
realize that Domino back in the day, the rapper Domino made sweet potato pie. Look him up. So that's what's up. Now, when somebody comes out with lemon meringue or something like that, let me know. But it ain't happening. Sweet potato pie rules. Thank you guys. Next
That,
question.
that, that's it. I swear on my life. I swear on my life. No, so there's going to be some kind of unknown factor pie. I don't even know what it's going to be yet. I might just like make a pie flavor
And
because
that,
screw it.
Okay.
Why not? Right. But
You could.
before we wrap this up, Dion, can I just get you to say, yo, this is Dion Wilson. You're check out the questionnaire every Wednesday at 7 because I'm changing the time it drops Hardaway because I think it'll be better for the podcast. Whatever, a little bit later in the
7
day. I think
a.m.
noon's
Oh,
full. What's wrong with you? Why the
7 p.m.
hell? No, I'm trying to make sure people can more actively watch it while it's live, and hopefully you and I can actually be in the chat because noon don't cut it for me. But that's besides the point, right? And then promo what you do.
Okay, so let me see if I got it all. I wrote down a little piece of it. Let me see if I got it all. Shout out to the questionnaire, and make sure to tune in every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard.
But I'm Dion Wilson too. Like, and then
Okay,
like,
yeah.
yeah. You gotta
Okay,
introduce
okay.
yeah.
yourself.
You ready for me to do it? Okay. I'm Dion Wilson from Rastr Technologies. Shout out to the questionnaire and the amazing hosts they have. Make sure to tune in every Wednesday for more episodes at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, right?
it
I
has.
really, I
Thank you.
hope that maybe even some of the independent creators we have on. I mean, hell, they might end up using your service, like because I know we've got a lot of creators that come on and they're strictly independent. And from what you've explained, it sounds like it could be very beneficial because who the hell wants to just deal with Amazon? I mean, as awesome as it is to have your stuff on Amazon, like, do you really
Right.
want to just Amazon? Look, but Amazon, sell my merch. But that's besides the point.
What we want creators, and I guess, here's the nerd part. I know you guys, have a very relaxed show. I love that. So I'll get one of my other guys probably come on some other time that's more relaxed. But we want creators to understand that their creativity is not just the the written work or the illustrated work. We want them to know that they don't even see what they're doing because it really just takes that eagle eye to look above. But these guys and girls out there have literally, because they don't have the big money, they've had to work with what's out there and work with who's out there, and they have been just ground pounders and going out there and making deals and getting things done, getting things printed, going to these conventions and doing that stuff. And so when I looked at that, I said, not to hate on them or anything like that, but it's like looking at an ant farm. You've got all these industrious workers moving and doing this stuff, but they're so busy in the thick of it that they don't see the bigger picture of the farm, right? They're just so busy trying to, carry this item to the other area and communicate with this ant and blah, blah, blah. And the larger companies, the larger publishing companies, number one, they can't really focus on smaller companies because they have so much intellectual property and legalities and things they have to manage from their stuff. They can't juggle all that. But number two, it's bad for the brand. It's bad for their business. They can't go and promote another brand over theirs. So really, someone has to look out for these creators. And I said, look, you have the ability. You understand what needs to be done with data. You're learning how, the different technologies and how they can work. And so we've experimented with artificial intelligence, databases, deep learning, machine learning, Web 3.0, which is your blockchain distributed ledger stuff. And we're bringing it together not because of the catchwords, but because we've created models that we believe will really make these guys and girls self-sufficient between physical goods and digital, okay? Whether they're in Poland or whether they're in Uruguay, they can get it done,
Hey, do me a favor. Give me a guess from both Poland and Uruguay, because I want to do that, because we've already had several. I don't know. We've had aerials from Mexico, Dominic's up in there in Canada, right? I'm trying to get international with the show as well.
I can get you a guy from Cuba. I can get you somebody from Cuba.
An artist or a writer from Cuba?
He and his wife do all of that. They do graphic designs for comics, for video games. They write. They have a whole team.
Yes, put us in contact with them. That'd be nice.
They're the only thing.
But hey, man, I just got to say, this has been a hell of an interview, but I'm not trying to edit if it gets much longer. I already had to do that.
Take some of my stuff out.
All right, well, check this out.
You guys can use me for the outro.
This is we could have.
Wait, are we gonna use you wiping your eyes for the outro? I swear I'm so pissed.
I know I'm recording now.
Yeah, I know, but you missed the candidness of it. Now it's just a recreation, and it's not as good. That's only easy to do on the intro, and you know this, man. But on that note, like I said, or was trying to say, but then he was like, I stopped recording. And I'm like,
it's not even, I didn't even stop recording. Someone came in and messed something up. I don't know why you blaming everything on me. We got comic book villains messing with us. See, my hat's even gone. Like someone even took my hat.
I can only think of the master that would be able to do that. And that is Doctor Who. And that's technically more TV than it is comic book. Though there are Doctor Who comics, but that's the only thing that pops to mind, man. I don't know. What are you blaming, Hardaway?
Bro, there's always somebody. Who's that? MODOK. Yeah.
MODOK.
Whatever. Look, I'm sorry this shit got pieced together at the very, very end. It's because Hardaway keeps getting jumped by villains. I don't know why.
Ain't my fault. I'm pretty.
It's really because I think it's because he's D-Day, and they're like, well, it's Doomsday. We got to take him out, man, because he's
that ain't gonna ever happen, man.
You know what I mean?
They're taking me out. I mean, they can take me out for dinner though.
I mean, all of it, yo, whatever, bro. I don't even care. You do you. You can go date Lex Luthor, and that's fantastic. It's just the questionnaire. I am the unknown factor, just like D-Day, known as Endless. Yeah.
And I'm Jay D-Day Hardaway.
You gotta look, I'm the Wade Wilson of hip hop, man. Don't dick with me. This has been Dion Wilson. Episode, let me see if I can get it right.
And I'm the Red Tool.
You are the Red Tool.
You don't even know who that is. Shut up.
I use a tool, bro. Whatever. My brother.
Much.
Much.
Yeah. And
Or
we're
something.
back
We
again.
ain't back the
Look,
whole time, right? But
have
I just
we?
want to before I'm giving Hardaway a headache, like I was the purple man. You know what I mean? Killmonger
Oh
up in
my
this piece.
God,
Like,
dude! I thought I got rid of him too.
is your skull hurt, Hardaway? Yeah, does it hurt? But I just want to say, if you enjoyed this interview with Dion Wilson, send him a hamburger. Or hold on, man, I didn't read this closely enough for the thing that I should have done for that part of the thing. You know what I mean? And whatever.
See, are
Um,
you even from this dimension?
am I from this dimension?
Yeah.
Right. Wait. I'm not. I mean, they can send you a bunch of Rubik's cubes too, I suppose. But I think you're one of the first people that actually chose a toy that was readily available on Amazon or Walmart or God knows how many places. But I
The
think you
Dollar
gave him a
Tree,
really
Dollar General.
find one that's like one of the original ones. That or a dope ass burger and send it to Dion now. If you haven't enjoyed it, send him a demon. He apparently don't like
Jesus,
him. And they're of all
why?
types. I might be possessing some myself because they sure as hell don't possess me, but that's besides the point. Check out the questionnaire. I'm glad
That's so
y'all hung around
nasty.
till the end.
Tired.
Yeah, that's right. I am the fucktard that is the unknown factor or the
And
enemy
we're
fucktard.
back, ladies and
Right?
gentlemen. We need you to like and subscribe to our
I do that
page.
when I cut this. That like you're acting like they're gonna have to see all this. Like no, it's just gonna be nuts, man. But I forgot to say, like, subscribe. Click that little bell because
I
we
already
got
done
Dion.
said all that.
On. We're gonna have him hooking us up with a couple from Cuba that does comic books, right? So keep in track, man, because it's Deadpool, baby, and
Keep
that's
in
what's up.
track. Keep in track. Keep in touch. Just don't touch us in unwanted spaces.
Wow.
Have a good night, y'all.
Anti-hero.